How's it, guys? This is Davey FP and welcome back to the Gameweek 15 deadline with Davey livestream. Just remember that next game week is Game Week 16 and we're going to be using the wild card then. And actually the deadline for that is Monday night, I do believe. So basically there's going to be a quick turnaround here. So what I'm thinking of doing, and you guys can just confirm with me if you think it's good, is I'm probably going to be releasing a video later today on the team selection instead of the preview. So what we usually do is we usually do the preview, then the team selection. But this week, I think we do the team selection first so that I can show you guys the squad with those price rises and those price drops, because I think that's going to be the most accurate way of getting a similar wildcard draft kind of. So what I'll do is later I'll release a video on that whole team selection, and that way you guys can catch those price rises and catch those price drops. Then on Sunday we might do the preview, and then on Monday I wanted to know if you guys would rather have a live stream or would you rather have an updated team selection video. I think the video might be better, but the live stream does allow us to kind of lock in those last minute decisions. Maybe I'll do both. Maybe I'll do a video and a team kind of a deadline with Davey live stream. That'll probably be the best scenario to do. But I just wanted a little bit of feedback from you guys, what you would prefer, and if it's fine if I release another video today so you guys can catch the price rises. But as those comments flow in, I will be getting to the main talking points about Game Week 15 on my own kind of team. I made the transfers last night, so if you guys do follow me over on Twitter, I did confirm those transfers. So it was Robertson in for Chilwell, and then it was Rafinha in for Ferran Torres. So with Ferran Torres, I honestly think that he's going to be playing today, which is why I was a little bit skeptical about taking him out, because I have this weird feeling that he's going to have a good game week. If he does, I mean, we just got to put our hands up and say, you know, Torres was a lot of a punt. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off. I actually do hope that he does well, but hopefully Rafinha does well as well for us. But those were two free transfers, and as I said, we're using the wild card next week, so these two transfers were kind of punts to go on. That doesn't mean I won't keep Robertson and I won't keep Rafinha, but in terms of these two fixtures, I think they were the ones that I want to take most advantage out of. I think if I had a little bit more budget, I would have gone for Walcott instead of Rafinha, just because of Southampton playing Fulham, and I think Fulham defensively are quite a bit worse than Burnley, but we just kind of had to go for that because I had the budget. Would love a daily upload on the wildcard team so that we can match the price changes. So what I could do there is maybe what I would do is I'll release the video today, GBL, and then I'll release the video tomorrow, and just at the end of the video, whether it be a preview or whatever we talk about, I'll do like a little bit of an update at the end of the video to just say these are the moves that I have done. But you must also just remember that it's not going to be too many price rises, because from today till Monday, there's only about 2 days in between. So I will keep you guys updated though with the whole transfer selection. And I'm actually hoping for quite a few price rises, because whenever you're on a wild card, you kind of want to take advantage of those price rises a lot. I saw someone here saying, chances are Cancelo starting, you confident? So Jeremy, it's a little bit of a tough spot, because every single week that I haven't been confident in Cancelo, he has started. So it's going to be quite ironic if this week, when we are a little bit confident of him starting, that he's not going to. I mean, I was kind of thinking of the scenarios that could play out. Cancelo does play right back, and Walker plays the right back usually, so he could slot in there equally. I think Mendy and Zinchenko are both left backs, if I do recall, but I think both of those teams could play on either side. Because it is Newcastle, I reckon they're going to sit quite deep. So I don't think it's the most necessary thing to have a defensive fullback in that game. But I kind of just hope Cancelo starts. I mean, definitely I think he's got a better chance of starting now than he did before Walker's positive test. So that's why I'm a little bit confident in Cancelo starting, and I'm at least a little bit more assured that he will. And I think it's going to be a great fixture to have a Man City defender in. So Walker unfortunately was tested positive. And then the other one that people are asking about here is Sufal. So if you don't know, he actually had a child. I don't know whether it was on Christmas Day or if it was on Christmas Eve, but he did have a child, and there's this whole kind of debate about if he's going to have paternity leave or if he's going to be playing. So they, as far as I know, they play on Sunday. So there might be like two or 3 days there of leave that he will have. But in my personal opinion, I think that I think there's a bigger chance of him missing out than him playing. I don't know why. Let's just check if it is a home fixture for them, which I do think it is. Maybe he can get like special permission that he stays at home Sunday night, and then he comes in the morning for Sunday for the Sunday fixture. I don't know. Maybe they can rearrange someone like that, but I think that they do have some coverage there in those fullback positions. But I think if you have him, play him, because it's one of those scenarios where if he doesn't play, he's not going to come off the bench. I mean, that would make no sense for him to be on the bench. So I reckon that just start him. It's a good fixture to have him in. It's one of those don't buy, don't transfer out, just keep them. And I think that there's a chance that he will play. So I mean, you got some good faith there. KDB will haul this week and punish everyone, says Kian. So that could be the case. I won't lie, I was a little bit tempted by the whole De Bruyne situation because he was rested in that League Cup. That old League Cup fixture, so that he's going to have a full rest for this week. But you must also remember that the Liverpool assets also will have a full rest because they didn't even have a League Cup game. So Salah, De Bruyne, it's a tough spot to be in. I think if you don't own Salah, it's not worth rearranging your whole squad. So that's where there was a lot of comments in the YouTube videos this week about, should I take out Kane? Should I take out De Bruyne to bring Salah in? I don't think you have to do that. I think that you just stick with the options you have. It's not worth rearranging your entire squad unless you are not using a chip in Game Week 18 and you need those double Game Week players. Then it kind of makes sense because obviously Salah does have the double Game Week. So not the worst replacement in the world, but I think KDB is a perfectly good captain this week and should do some damage. Aidan Lewis saying, Davey, if I have Walker, is it better to bring in Robertson for him instead of Chilwell and take a chance of him recovering? Also, alternatives for Rafinha if I already have 3 Leeds players. So if you don't already have Rafinha, you could also look at Lookman. He looks like a good shout. There are other options. If you don't have 3 Aston Villa players, you could look at El Ghazi. He was the person I was looking at, but unfortunately I already have 3 Aston Villa players. And then with Walker, it's a similar spot to be in, Aiden. Unfortunately, if you're not going to be using a chip like a wild card next game week, if you're going to be using a wild card next game week, you can kind of go for whoever you want. But the nice thing about Robertson is he does have that double. So if you are preparing for the double, then Robertson looks like a good transition to go for. I personally think that I would bring in Robbo. I think that Chelsea's fixtures aren't the best coming up. They do have that double game week, so it could be a little bit of a hindrance there. But I personally favor Robbo for this fixture. Zuma or Vardy for the bench. I think I saw that one there. Zuma or Vardy, whom to bench? I would kind of always go for the defender. My kind of scenarios are always start with the attacker. So just start Vardy in that case. No more changes to the team. I need to head out. That's all. No worries, Chris. This is probably going to be the team. Obviously, there could be something that comes out like a meteor struck the UK and all the Liverpool team isn't playing or something like that. But I think this is probably going to be the set lineup. I don't think I'm going to change too much. So enjoy the rest of your day, buddy. Thanks for dropping by. Tom James saying, I've got big problems, bruv. Reece James, Chilwell, Charlie Taylor, Kilman, and Lewis are my defenders. 1 free transfer and 0.4 in the bank. Was planning on wildcarding next week, but kind of forced to do it now. So Tom, I don't think that that's the worst thing in the world. Your defense is just looking a little bit shoddy. The thing is, though, that if you have Kevin De Bruyne and on a wild card, you would take him out. So that's why I didn't wild card this week, because I really wanted my Man City assets. I wanted my De Bruyne. I wanted my Cancelos against Newcastle. Next game week, I don't think I'm going to be having many Man City players, so that's why I'm only wild carding next week. So that's why I don't think in your situation, if you want to keep De Bruyne for this week, then I wouldn't look at doing that. I think that that's perfectly fine. Start Charlie Taylor, start Kilman, start Lewis. Just kind of hope they play. You could always shift out Chilwell to someone else. Maybe take Chilwell to a Stones or a Cancelo or a Diaz. That could also be something you do. Even a Reece James to those. I think out of those two, I probably would keep Reece James because it seems like he's the most likely to recover quite soon. Nick Smith saying, why is your accent so funny? I don't know. You'll have to ask. I don't know. It's not even one of those where you have to ask my parents. I don't really know how to respond to that one. Will you free it in Game Week 18? Ahmed saying, I probably will. That's just kind of the caveat with wildcarding now to prepare for the double game week. I think you kind of have to do that because it allows you to take full advantage of that double game week. You could always wildcard and then maybe have 8 blank game week players and then you bench them and you go for a triple captain. But my current strategy is to bench boost in Game Week 19. So that's why I will be using my free it. Optimus Prime saying, how's it, bosses? How are you? Hope for a good week. I think we're all hoping for a good week there. And nothing like wrapping up the festive period with a lovely green arrow. That's kind of the only Christmas present that I wanted this year. Play Souček or Wilson. So I think this is one of those where we got to go and look at the fixtures. So unfortunately, I know that Newcastle are playing Man City. So I probably wouldn't start him. I probably would go for your other alternative there, which is Souček. So I would probably go for him. John Stones saying Ahmed again. So John Stones is a good shout. I think that the current consensus with Man City is that John Stones and Diaz looks like the partnership at the back. And I think that John Stones was rested midweek, so that's why a lot of people are saying that he's going to be starting. So I think that John Stones is a good Man City defender to bring in, and he's also quite cheap. We also have Super Chat here saying, Merry Xmas, Davey. Thanks to you too. Hopefully you had a good festive period with family. Play Sufal, Rafinha, or Zuma. So I probably, in this case, I always favor the attacking player, so I would go for Rafinha, but it's a really tough one for me because you have really good alternative options there. I would probably go for Sufal. I think maybe Sufal is the next person I would go for. I don't know. I just don't know what to think about this Arsenal-Chelsea fixture. I know Chelsea have been good defensively. Arsenal had been shocking going forward, which kind of leads to a Chelsea clean sheet, but I always just don't know about those more, I don't want to say top 6 clashes because Arsenal haven't been playing like a top 6 side. But I think that Sufal is probably my second alternative, but I always go for the attacker there, so I probably would go for Rafinha. That's the best news I've heard all week, Lamar. Thank you, bro. Glad I have another few days to stress. Thanks, Tom. Hopefully you had a Merry Christmas as well. And hopefully your defense manages to bring you some points. He's also saying Arsenal to win 3-0. So I don't know if you've still been on the booze from Christmas time, but I don't know if Arsenal are going to win 3-0. Definitely will be a shock victory, and I reckon you should put a couple pounds, dollars, whatever you use on that result, because you could win quite a little bit of money. Walker Peters or Dallas, McCarthy on goal. I would just go for Walker Peters. I think just double up on that defense. I know it's not the best fixture in the world to have a double up, but I think that you just have to go for it. Akash saying, Yo, Davey, if Mane doesn't perform this week, is it time to just switch him? I don't think I would be losing patience with... Okay, so you don't own Salah, so that's quite a tough spot to be in. Look, I think I was in a similar spot towards the beginning of the season. If you guys remember, I didn't include Salah in my first draft. I went with Mane. And I think you have to own Salah. I think Mane, you can own him, but as a kind of a complementary player towards Salah, so you can double up on that Liverpool midfield. But I wouldn't go without Salah. I don't think it's the worst spot. I mean, he's 44% ownership. It's not like a Son who's like 60% owned. But I definitely think he's going to be a good player for the upcoming doubles. So I think that I would shift onto Salah. You said that you're willing to give Mane 1 week, which you could, but then maybe look, if you want to still own Mane for the doubles, maybe look at your other players to bring Salah in. I've checked all the games, and I think Pope and Martial as must-plays because they have amazing fixtures at Gameweek 16 and 17, also 20, 21, 22. So the thing that I'm just a little bit unsure of with Martial is the whole Cavani situation. So maybe some Man United fans can correct me here. I know that Cavani is charged, so he's not going to be playing for that many game weeks. I don't know how many game weeks it's still left, but I know that he was charged for that Instagram post. So it looks here like he's back from his suspension. So I don't think he's suspended anymore. And before the game weeks that he got suspended, he was actually looking quite good. So I don't know if Cavani's definitely the second string and Martial's definitely the first string. We could look at Martial. But I just worry if there's two fixtures close proximity to each other. Maybe Martial gets a rest or something and Cavani comes on. Bring in Sufal, Dallas, or Taylor. I think in that case, if you're going on this week's fixture, go for Dallas. But if you want to go for some longevity, go for Taylor. I don't know if I would bring Sufal in unless there was a concrete news that Sufal was definitely going to start. Then I would bring him in. Out of those three, definitely. But because of this whole paternity leave and we don't really know if he's going to be starting, I wouldn't be looking at it that much. Edison saying Martial's been the main number 9 this season. So if he's the main number 9, then definitely we have to look at him. I think I would have definitely looked at the Man United options for that double game week 17. I mean, imagine how crazy that would have been. A double game week 17, a double game week 19. That would have been quite good. Rafinha or Podence, I just don't like Wolves' fixtures too much. That's why I went for Rafinha. And must also remember, I'm going for a 1 week punt here. If you're not going for a 1 week punt, maybe Podence is a more assured option for the longevity of it. But I think for a 1 week punt, definitely Rafinha looks the better shout. Mahrez to play. So if you own Mahrez, it's a similar situation every single game week with the Man City options. You just play them and you hope that they start. I can't really tell you if Mahrez is going to play or not. I think that there's been a lot of rotation. I mean, last game week, I thought that Torres wasn't going to start, and he ended up starting. So you just kind of have to go for your option. I wouldn't bring them in, but I definitely would just keep them. Then we have a donation here from Pradib. So you didn't write any comments, so just comment it down below if you forgot to post the comment there. If it was just a pure super chat donation, I do appreciate it. Start Dyer or Justin. So Leicester play Man United. From an attacking point of view, Justin's the better option, but I think from a defensive point of view, I would rather go for Dyer. I just think that Wolves are lacking a little bit. I think the Raul Jimenez injury, although they've been playing a little bit better, I think that it's going to knock them a little bit more against more of the big teams. So I think I would go for Dyer in your case. Start Bowen or Vestergaard. I always go for the more attacking player, Caroline, so I would start Bowen in that case. Start Soufal or Justin. I think if you own Soufal, you start him this week. If you're worried of him getting benched or worrying about him not playing, he won't be on the bench for West Ham. If he's on paternity leave, he's going to miss out completely, so you'll simply get whoever you have on your bench, so just start him. Is it a good idea to go with Salah and Mane and then at Gameweek 20 switch to KDB or Sterling? So I think it's a good strategy to go for, especially because you don't have to shift many transfers around. If you go from Mane, you can easily go to KDB or Sterling, but if you have like Son, you can't easily transition. You must just make sure you have money in the bank then. So that's why I really do like the Salah Mane kind of double up, because it allows you to have some real flexibility in your midfield. Hits, do we take hits? Asked Jeremy. I don't know what you're talking about. For this game week, you can take a hit. I would take a hit if you're not going to be using a chip like a wildcard or a free hit in double game week 19, because then that hit will kind of negate itself come game week 19, and that should be quite good. Will there be price rises / drops before opening of transfers for next game week after deadline in 20 minutes? So they won't be. The only price rises that happen are at night. So I think it's about 3 o'clock in the morning my time. So that's about 1 o'clock in the morning the UK time. So that's the only time that the price rises happen. So every night. So basically, we're going to have no price rises before basically tomorrow. There will be before tomorrow, tonight, but there won't be another one before this deadline. Should I get Diaz or Oscar? I would. I think Diaz is a really good option from that Man City defense. Probably one of the best options to get because he seems quite nailed. Taylor or Watkins, who to start? I would go for Watkins. I think that Taylor might have a hard time against that Leeds attack because they are very resilient and they like to attack a lot. So it's going to be quite interesting to see the whole Burnley defense versus that Leeds attack. I got my wild card, but no free hit. Any advice on how to work past game week 18? So Ibrahim, what I would do is I would look at your squad. I would try and get maybe 8 players into your blank game week side. I wouldn't use my bench boost in game week 19. I probably would use my triple captain instead, because then you can bench 3 of those players that were blanking. And you must also remember that it's not the worst decision in the world to have a single game week player. So there's players that have a fixture in game week 18, but then also have a fixture in game week 19. It's not a double game week fixture, but it's still a single game week. So you can perfectly get those players. I probably would look at Son and Kane because I think their game week 19 fixture isn't too bad. Salah triple captain, you can go for that. I always use it on a double game week though. But if there was a week to use it, it does look quite good. I don't know if West Bromwich Albion's the best fixture to use it for Liverpool. I might say if they faced Leeds or some side like that, because West Brom probably going to park a little bit, and that's not going to be that good for those Liverpool wingers. Isn't Cancelo going to start at right back since Walker's out? So you would think so, but with Pep, you never know. Maybe he plays Sterling at right back or something. Maybe he brings up a youngster, but that's the thing is with Pep, sometimes the logical decision doesn't always make sense, but I think Cancelo should start at right back this week. Captain KDB or Alexander-Arnold, I always go for the attacker in that case. It's similar to the whole benching situation, so I would probably go for KDB instead of Alexander-Arnold. Will Soufal play? I don't know if he will play. I think it's about a 50-50 chance, but if you have him, start him, because if he doesn't play, you're simply just going to get someone off the bench. Rashford to Mane for a -4. It depends if you want to captain Mane, and it all depends if you don't have a Liverpool attacker. If you don't own Salah, then I would potentially look at that, but I don't think Rashford's a terrible shout to go for, especially if you're not going to be using a chip in the blank, because You're going to have a Rashford double game week to a Mane double game week, so it might be a little bit sideways. A Trent or Robbo, that's a real 50-50 to go for. I was in a similar situation because I took out Chilwell for Robertson. I think that Robertson right now is looking a little bit better. But you know what happened last time a player was looking better? It was preseason, and it was Mane looking better than Salah, and I went for Mane and then Salah banged. So maybe Trent's going to bang this week. It's a really tough one to go for, but just as a Liverpool fan, I've seen that Robertson's been a little bit in a better form than Trent at the moment, and his crossing seems to be a little bit better. Is Konza playing? Help, please. So I think that Konza was injured, or he was yellow flagged, as far as I know. So it looks here like he's got a 75% chance of playing for illness. If you don't have a bench option, then maybe take him out. But if you do have a bench player, just simply start him. I mean, if he's ill, he's not going to come off the bench, so you'll still be fine. Matip or Sufal. So if you want to bring one of those in, Steven, then I would go for Matip. But if you want to start either of them, I definitely would look to start both of them. Watkins to Bamford for a -4. I fancy Watkins this week to hopefully get off his goal drought and get a goal. I don't think I would do Watkins to Bamford this week though. I think maybe when Aston Villa's fixtures get a little bit tougher, maybe next game week. 1 week punt on Firmino, you could always go for that. The thing about Firmino that I will always say is basically when he starts scoring goals, he always goes on a streak, and I think we've kind of seen that. I think in the last 2 he scored. So he is a kind of a streaky player. So if you want to jump on Firmino, now's going to be the game week to do it. Set an alarm for 5:30 a.m. today from the US to attend the stream. Now that's dedication. I really do appreciate that. Hopefully it's been worth it, and hopefully you're enjoying the stream. Adams or Welbeck, I think I would go for Adams this week. I kind of forgot that Southampton are playing Fulham this week, so I can understand why so many people are looking to bring in Adams. I think that's a perfectly good one to go for. Are you going to post your wildcard draft later today? I will. I'll be posting the team selection video today instead of the preview, because we always do the preview before the team selection, but we're going to be doing the team selection today for an initial draft that you guys can follow some price rises on. Tom James today with the OG emoji. Cancelo or Diaz or both? Probably both if you can. I think that especially this game week against Newcastle, I really do fancy a Man City clean sheet. But if you just want one, I would probably go for Diaz just because I think he's a little bit more sure to start. Taylor, Diaz or Cancelo, Kilman, Lewis, Reece James as a starting back three. Worth taking a hit to bring in another defender or just hope for a point? So I would just hope. I never like taking a -4 on a defender because that basically means in that single game week they have to get a clean sheet to negate it. I know that you could argue that in upcoming game weeks it will be fine. But I think if you have a back three of Taylor, Diaz/Cancelo, Kilman or Lewis, I think that's perfectly fine. Theo Walcott asked David, I would go for that. That's who I wanted to take a one week punt on. But unfortunately I didn't have the money. I was 0.1 out. Hi, David. Will you start Dallas over Taylor? I've got Rafinha and Bamford. Yes, I would. I would start Dallas. I don't think the Leeds defenders are players to bench this week. I think that they're so attacking that they could be good. No worries, Emasif. Bowen or Souček for game week 9? I would always go for Bowen because I think he just gets forward a little bit more than Souček. Souček or Wilson? I would go for Souček. Will either of Kilman or Mitchell start? I think that Kilman has a better chance than Mitchell. Now, Roy Hodgson could come out and say after the 7-0 loss, he's going to rearrange the whole defense. But I don't think he will. I think Kilman's got a better chance of starting than Mitchell. Captain on Kane or Salah? I would go for Salah, Kevin. I just think that Spurs-Wolves game is going to be quite tight. Thoughts on Rodrigo? I really do like him. I see some people are going for him on a wildcard next game week instead of Bamford because he's quite a bit cheaper. So, I mean, you could go for him, but I just favor Bamford a little bit more. Thinking about captaining Sterling. So, that's the thing with players of teams that are good captaincy options. So, if Salah's a good captaincy option, it automatically makes Mane a good captaincy option. So, if De Bruyne is a good captaincy option, obviously Sterling is as well. And I think that could be a good shout to go for as he's quite differential. Any team news, injury news? Chilwell actually okay. So, the only news G-Rid I saw was that Chilwell took a picture with some teammates in the dressing room. So, that basically means that he might start or that he's training. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to be starting, but it could give you some hope as a Chilwell owner. Optimus Prime saying 3 minutes before the deadline, check your teams. Make sure you captain KDB. So obviously Optimus Prime is going for a KDB captain, but I think I'm going to be going for the Salah captain, and I don't think I'm going to be changing my mind too much on that one. Justin or Taylor, I would probably go for Justin. I just think that you probably have a Leeds attacker, so you might play the odds there and hope that Leeds get a goal, and then you'll kind of negate that Burnley clean sheet. Manash saying, hey Davey, do I remove Chua or Lamptey for a -4, or just play with 10 players this week? If I should remove who to replace who? So I think you're probably the better spot to be in as replacing Chua because everyone is cheaper than him basically. So I would go for Diaz or Cancelo in that case. Thoughts on Haller for double game week? I think that maybe, but there would have to come out news that Antonio was injured for like a month or so that he definitely would miss there. But we could have some rotation if Antonio's back fit. Of course, that happens the moment I take out Chilwell. So I took out Chilwell after seeing that news because for me it didn't look that good. Lookman or Dallas, I always favor the attacker. So go for Lookman, I feel. But Dallas is also a good shot, so that's a real tough spot to be in. I think that might be the one time that I take away the rule and I say actually play the defender. I think maybe go for Dallas instead of Lookman. Are you going to write on Twitter when you activate the wildcard? So, Alexander, I will be activating the wildcard because this is the last week that I have to do it on. So I definitely will be going for the game week 16 wildcard. Arsenal 16 saying, should I sell him this week? FPL mate, I think you're on the wrong YouTube channel there. But I've Watkins now. Should I sell him for Bamford or Adams? I would probably just give him another game week, have some patience with him. I know it probably will come back to bite you, but that's what I'm kind of doing. McCarthy or Martinez, best goalkeeper this week. I think both of them are good. If you have both of them, that's really hard to go by. This might be one of those game weeks where you actually play the guy who's going to make more saves, and I kind of feel that that's going to be McCarthy. No worries, Manas. Thanks for dropping by. Zuma to Diaz / Cancelo for a -4. I wouldn't do that. I would just play Zuma. Does making it a rec swap from KDB to Mane for the double game week make sense? Then swap back for game week 20. So mind of Thomas, I wouldn't do that this game week, but I would do that maybe in the future. Because then Mane has the double game week. But I think this week Kevin De Bruyne's fixture is just too good to take him out for. And I think that is the deadline, unfortunately, guys. So hopefully your transfers and your captaincies and your questions were answered. But I think this game week is going to be quite an interesting one. When you look at the squad on screen there, it looks like it's going to be a good game week. And unfortunately, usually what happens then is that it turns out to be an absolute shocker. So I'm hoping that it's a good game week. I'm hoping that the Salah captaincy comes into play. If you went for De Bruyne, I don't think you have to be too worried about that one. I think they're both good options to go for. And it's going to be interesting to see how those two kind of compete against each other in Game Week 15. In terms of other news with the whole videos and the wildcard situation, I will be releasing a video later today on a team selection wildcard draft that I'll be monitoring the price rises with. And if I do make changes to that, I either will update it in future videos or I will do it over on Twitter. So you guys don't have to worry. I got you covered there. Vincent saying, you didn't read my question, saw any electricity outages. So luckily, no electricity outages. However, other places in South Africa have been having, but fortunately for me, I haven't. If you had another question, Vincent, I do apologize for not answering it, but I'll be sure to get it next deadline with Davey Livestream. Thanks for dropping by, guys. Hopefully, Game Week 15 is absolutely sensational, and we're looking at a green arrow come Game Week 16 when we do use the wild card. So I'm going to be signing off. It's been Davey FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.